Now we have about 25 minutes for question and answer session before we go out for lunch. The lunch will be served outside. So now I will invite questions from the audience. Please, Bhasha ji, please.
जस्टिस लोकुर, मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रही हूँ कि ये बिहार और पश्चिम बंगाल में गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियली बोल रही है, मुख्यमंत्री बोल रहे हैं कि जितने लोगों के नाम कटे हैं वो अब गायब हुए, उनको हम कोई सब्सिडी नहीं देंगे, कुछ नहीं देंगे, और इसको अभी तक कहीं चैलेंज नहीं किया गया है। तो इसमें जितने लोग 23 लाख के करीब बंगाल में और 22 लाख के करीब बिहार में, जिनके बारे में सम्राट चौधरी ने भी कहा कि इनको हमने राशन देना बंद कर दिया है, इनका ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस नहीं बनेगा, और खबर ये भी है कि उनके नाम पर अब जमीन भी नहीं है, बिजनेस भी वो नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो लीगल स्थिति क्या है करीब जो 50 लाख लोग हैं ये दो राज्यों में?
There is a challenge. I think a challenge was, a petition was filed by the Paschim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court refused to hear it, said that they should approach the Calcutta High Court. The Calcutta High Court is hearing the matter, but has said that no aggrieved person has come to us. Why are you coming to us? So, I mean, that is definitely, I mean, the challenge is there. Nothing has come out of it so far. And I think that itself is concerning. And Justice Lokur, you might want to comment on. Bengal में challenge हुआ है पर किसी कोर्ट ने कुछ किया नहीं.
Yeah, well, I have already expressed the view कि ये गलत है. It should not be done. And you see, the answer that no aggrieved person has come, I think is wrong. What is public interest litigation all about? I mean, public interest litigation is that anybody can go to the court and say that, listen, this is wrong. ये गलत हो रहा है. तो ये नहीं कि कोई जो 35 लाख या 25 लाख 50 लाख जितने भी लोग हैं उनको कोर्ट में जाना चाहिए. क्या ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो 50 लाख लोग हैं 50 लाख पिटिशंस आप फाइल कीजिए? कैलकाटा हाई कोर्ट, पटना हाई कोर्ट दब जाएंगे बिल्कुल. सॉरी, यू आर राइट, राइट. सो इट शुड बी टेकन अप एज अ पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट पिटिशन, suo moto. Why not?
मेरा सवाल पूरे पैनल से है, जो भी चाहे जवाब दे दें. ये जो साबित करने का सिलसिला है नागरिकता का, ये कहाँ से शुरू कर सकते हैं? यानी जो राजपत्रित अधिकारी हैं, कमीशन ऑफिसर हैं, क्या वो सब भारत के नागरिक मान लिए जाएंगे? क्या हम ये समझे कि वो राजपत्रित हैं, या जो भारत सरकार में काम कर रहे हैं वो? और जो हम सब सवाल ये पूछ रहा है वो अधिकारी कौन हो सकता है, और क्या हम उससे पहले ये पूछ सकते हैं कि आपकी नागरिकता आप हमें साबित कर दें, फिर हम अपनी कर देते हैं? नहीं, ये सीरियस सवाल है. मतलब मैं जानना चाहूंगी कि मुझसे सवाल कौन कर सकता है. तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है मेरे लिए, क्योंकि क्या पता वो भी पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा हो, उसका भी कुछ पता ना ठिकाना ना हो कि वो भारतीय है या नहीं है. और यदि मेरे पिताजी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस से रिटायर हुए हैं, पेंशनर हैं, और मैं उनकी औलाद हूं, तो क्या मैं भारत की नागरिक हूं? तो ये मेरा सवाल है, जो भी जवाब दे.
मेरा सवाल नहीं है, कुछ बोलना है, if it's permitted. It's not a question.
Ma'am, go ahead here.
Just to say a couple of things, I was also part of among the lawyers who were arguing the SIR matter for 2 Bihar activists. I think there is something, and the panel has brought it out in different ways. Although I think Justice Lokur still has a residual faith where he's asking us to go back to that court. I understand the residual faith in Justice Lokur. I think what is very clear after the SIR judgment in particular is that there is complete institutional alignment today. And the whole concept of checks and balances on which the Indian Constitution actually can work as a machine, whether it is choosing the election commissioner or anyone else, is not working. the Supreme Court of India also has a track record of never having declared unconstitutional any draconian law, whether it was POTA, TADA, etc. They were brought down not because of the Supreme Court of India. And I think somewhere we need to think, and no, I'm not promoting anarchy, that would be the last thing on my mind, but I am promoting conversations outside the court and a little less hope and faith. We did not go to the court with any hope, at least I did not. But we went because what are your options left? The fact that, and this whole thing about rations that we are discussing, or entitlements that have been, now people have been denied illegally, unconstitutionally, thanks to the dog whistle of the Supreme Court. This happened in Assam. We watched it happen through NRC. People have been put in detention centers. People have been declared non-citizens. Nobody is being deported as per procedure and law. Bangladesh refuses. So this was, we saw this coming. I think we need to pay attention to what is happening in those parts, because that is going to happen here. SIR is a trident. It is a trident which will remove largest number women. They are the least documented group of people in this country, but we rarely talk about women. Secondly, Muslims, because that is a political agenda to disenfranchise them. And thirdly, the poor. If you remove the poor and working class as citizens, you don't have to give economic policies of a welfare state. This is a far-reaching thing that we are watching. It's not just about, can I get onto the electoral roll? And the Supreme Court has shown where it stands. And I think we need to be able to persuade the Supreme Court to revisit the Constitution, not by necessarily filing a petition, but by writing, talking, engaging.
That's right. इसके बाद
जस्टिस लोकुर, आपके लिए ये है कि पासपोर्ट पे जो बड़ी डिबेट हो रही है, मेरे माइंड में भी बड़ी एम्बिग्विटी थी, और निरुपमा राव जैसी नॉलेजेबल एंड काबिल ऑफिसर ने भी उसको डिफेंड किया, लेकिन आज आपके ओपनिंग रिमार्क में बिल्कुल उसको चांदनी की तरह साफ कर दिया कि प्रीएम्बल कोट करके, कि प्रीएम्बल में कि पासपोर्ट एंड ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट, दीज आर टू सेपरेट थिंग। एक जो मेरे माइंड में डाउट था कि ये तिब्बतन रेफ्यूजीज हैं, इतने साल से हैं, ये कैसे करते होंगे, हो सकता है इनको भी पासपोर्ट दिया जाता हो, उस पासपोर्ट भी क्या लिखते होंगे। मैंने भी गूगल किया, बड़ा उसका जवाब बड़ा क्लियर आ गया, तो उनके लिए आइडेंटिटी सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाता है। तो ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट इज द आइडेंटिटी सर्टिफिकेट एंड पासपोर्ट इज फॉर द सिटीजन, फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस।
This is addressed to Justice Lokul. It is unfortunate that the petitioners against the SIR, both in the case of Bihar and West Bengal, did not frontally object to the constitutionality of SIR itself, not to the purpose of the SIR. So it was the timing, the manner of implementation, but we all seem to be quite comfortable with the fact that SIR to theek hai, there's no harm in that. The fact is that SIR, by the nature of its purpose itself, is, in my view, unconstitutional, because the purpose is because they use a giveaway term, which is purification. What is purification? Purification is reminiscent of the practices of the Third Reich. And that is really the purpose. So that purpose brings in the constitutionality of the SIR. That has not really been agitated the way it should have been, because all the petitioners kept saying that we don't we don't question the SIR itself. We question the way it is being done or the thing. So is there scope now for raising that issue and saying that the purpose itself is immoral, illegal, and so on? And could it be a part of a revision petition now?
Sir, I have two issues. Justice Madan Lakur, please. You discriminated under the Passport Act that you have the passport and then you talked about the travel documents. Now, if a joint secretary of the government of India makes a statement that the passport is not a proof of citizenship, that will not it cannot be implemented. You need an amendment to the Passport Act. That's one. Second point is, the problem is that you just cannot batter the Election Commission of India on and off. The Election Commission of India also operates through the returning officer, assistant returning officers. And the problem is the spinelessness of the officers there. We need people like Mr. Lavasa to have the spine, to take a stand. So it's just not the Election Commission of India, but also the returning officer, ARO. At the lowest level, the functionaries are so important. I'll just give you one example. You don't need ECI to seek protection. I was observer in Asansol in West Bengal. This was a by-election of a member of parliament. The current CM of Bengal was there. We were having a meeting of the observers, police observer, and that we had that expenditure observer, and two of us were there. He said, आप हमको नाम दे दीजिए, दोनों का एक ईमेल भेज दीजिए ECI में, कलेक्टर का और कमिश्नर का. They are B team of this ladies party. हम वहां से ट्रांसफर करा देगा. The additional director general police, who was the police observer, says, we can work on it. I said, no, if you do it, I'll write a dissenting note. I cannot take this. So he says, this person says, no, we'll have a separate meeting. So the other observer said, let's go out. I said, no, why should I go out? We should be together. He said, चलो चलते हैं. I said, चलो बाहर चलते हैं, बाद में आप communicate करिएगा. What happened? Then he had a meeting 1-to-1. Then when he came back together, he says, we'll send the names. I said, no, you cannot. I'll write a dissenting note. You cannot do that. तो बोला एक काम करो, एक कोई पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर का चेंज करा दो, उसको कर देते हैं. I said, वो करते रहिए, लेकिन ये नहीं होगा. कलेक्टर और आप पुलिस कमिश्नर को चेंज करेंगे. 10 को इलेक्शन है, उसके पहले ये आपका कोई एक फेस्टिवल है मुस्लिम का, उसमें राइट्स हुआ है पहले. So you need to take a stand. You need spine. That's important. Let's not batter just the Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India is the bureaucrats at the lowest level who have to be held accountable, and they are responsible for it, and who have to take a stand. That's my stand.
We have 4-5 more people to ask questions. So I'll request everyone to be, brief and
please,
sweet and focus on the main point.
Mr. Ashish,
सर घूम फिर के सारी बातें तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे ही आ रही हैं कि वहाँ से हमें रिलीफ नहीं मिल रहा है जो होना चाहिए. तो मैं पहले भी कई फोरम्स पे ये सवाल उठा चुका हूँ. हाँ, मेरा यही सवाल है कि इसेंट्रिसिटीज अट्रैक्ट इसेंट्रिसिटीज. अगर वहाँ से नहीं हो रहा है तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए? सीनियर मेंबर्स ऑफ बार and retired judges, they should go and meet judges of the Supreme Court. कुछ भी ऐसा dialogue initiate करना चाहिए कि what is going on and this is against the democracy.
one more on that side, and
so that I can be seen. Let me stand up. I have two questions, very brief questions to Justice Lokho. One is that SIR is not being taken as a kind of evidence of being a citizen of India. Is that a correct law legally? Is that correct legal position? Then why is the government denying all schemes which are supposed to be given to the citizen on the basis of name inclusion in SIR? Number one. Number two, a party member like BJP member is obviously an Indian citizen, but the parties are giving membership to all and sundry on the basis of simply applying for it. Why can't the parties, or why should the parties be actually tasked to confirm citizenship before giving their membership?
Sir, would you like to reply just now? Or? Okay. Yeah. Mr. Ashish, one more person that side.
This side they are
Yeah.
taking. I'll come back.
Okay.
थोड़ा brief, हाँ?
मेरे दो सवाल हैं संभावनाओं के आधार पे जस्टिस लोकुर साहब। एक तो एसआईआर के माध्यम से जब सिटीजनशिप खत्म करने की एक साजिश है, तो क्या किसानों की जमीन और आदिवासियों की जमीन छीनने की बहुत आसान ये तरीका हो गया कि एसआईआर के माध्यम से सिटीजनशिप छीन लो और उनको लैंड से बेदखल कर दो? तो क्या सरकार की ये योजना है अडानी अंबानी को? और दूसरा, अगर पासपोर्ट ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट है तो जितने भी विदेश में हमारे हिंदुस्तानी गए हैं तो क्या उनका वीजा रद्द हो जाएगा आने वाले समय में? या जिस तरीके से भारत के अंदर से लोगों को डिस्प्लेस करेंगे, बाहर करेंगे, तो क्या सारे लोग अवैध घोषित हो जाएंगे? और इवन दो क्या नरेंद्र मोदी भी अगर बाहर जा रहे हैं पासपोर्ट पे, तो क्या ये भी अवैध घोषित हो जाएंगे आने वाले समय में? और कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है और कि ट्रम्प जो है, ये हंसने की बात नहीं है, ये बहुत सीरियस कंसर्न है। अगर ये ट्रेवल डॉक्यूमेंट है तो क्या जितने लोग एनआरआईज हैं हमारे, क्या उन सबको बेडियो में, इवन दो नरेंद्र मोदी को भी बेडियो में हम देखेंगे आने वाले समय में कि ट्रम्प जैसा कोई व्यक्ति इनको बेडियो में भेजेगा? या हम मुसलमानों के साथ करेंगे तो हो सकता है कि अरब कंट्रीज भी हमारे लोगों को बाहर भेजे? ऐसी कैसी संभावनाएं हो सकती है?
Yeah, let's come back to the panel. Sir, you wanted to say something and then.
I'll request all the people who are asking questions to just, if they could introduce themselves, so it would be nice. Just
So-
one more question from here.
Yeah, just one more question and then we'll come back to the panel,
Yeah.
please.
My name is Yogendra Yadav. I have a question to the panel and to everyone here, which arises from all that has been said so far. Building on what Brinda, I think, had said, and to put it bluntly, is there a point in approaching the Supreme Court anymore? I do not ask it as a sweeping question, but on those issues where this regime has made up its mind, on cases that are considered politically sensitive, where the regime's interests are involved, is there a point in approaching the Supreme Court at all on those things? Second, elections. Do elections remain a possible mechanism for democratic and peaceful transfer of power, which they have been for 70 years in this country? Even after emergency, elections performed that role of a democratic and peaceful transfer of power. Are elections that mechanism anymore? And if you combine these two questions, are we reaching a point where constitutional democratic means are being extinguished? Thank you.
Yeah. Now we come to the panel. Pardon? Okay, yeah. Here, one more question and then we come back to the panel. No, this way, this way. No, we don't have much time left, please.
I just want to get Mrs. Bharadwaj, you use the wrong numbers. And 91 lakh people were deleted from West Bengal. 31 were settled in the first 1 or 2 months. People who have died or transferred or moved out. 60 or so lakhs are there. This is a very important difference because Mamata lost by 32 lakh votes. So 60 lakh voters are pending in those tribunals. So those numbers are what you cited, 27 lakhs not correct. And there's a petition in the Supreme Court citing those numbers and saying that the margin of the victory was smaller than the votes, people who were not allowed to vote.
Yeah, now come back to the panel. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but we have to go out for lunch also.
10 minutes are left.
Only 8 minutes are left.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सहभागिता के लिए। दरअसल मैं राजेंद्र हूं और मैं थिएटर करता हूं। तो मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो लोकतंत्र का जो त्योहार है जिसमें इलेक्शन और जो पार्टिसिपेशन है वो ज्यादातर गरीब लोग मैंने देखा है बहुत तैयार होकर जाते हैं कि भाई आज इलेक्शन है। तो इसका जो मान लीजिए डिलीट कर रहे हैं जिनको, तो फिर कौन लोग रहेंगे जो वोट करेंगे? सवाल अंतिम लक्ष्य क्या है इसका, कि वो कौन लोग होंगे जो वोट करेंगे? क्योंकि पढ़े लिखे और संपन्न लोग तो नहीं देखे मैंने ज्यादा लाइन में लगते हुए। थैंक यू।
No, so just to clarify the numbers, I was talking specifically of the logical discrepancy in which 1.36 crore people were flagged through a secret algorithm. And the Election Commission basically held that you have to show that, you have to come with your documents, you have to show that you're citizens, otherwise you will be deleted from the rolls. Out of that, eventually 27 lakh people were left and their names were deleted. They went to the tribunal. The tribunal did not have the time to hear their cases and they were not allowed to vote. As far as the numbers in the tribunal are concerned, there were more than 27 lakhs. They were not just logical discrepancy. And the Supreme Court in the affidavit, also the number that is used is 34 lakh. So 34 lakh at the time when the Supreme Court last held a hearing and the matter was heard, said that there are these people left. But because there is no time before elections now, they cannot vote this time, but they needn't worry, they can vote the next time. And the number of deletions, and the voting margin, the winning margin, those are different numbers. I was referring to these. So I wanted to clarify that the numbers were specifically, which I was referring to, was for the logical discrepancy. I think on the issue of one point was made that can we go back to the court because the constitutionality was not really agitated. But I think Vrinda is here, Yogendra Yadav is here also. It was very clearly challenged, the constitutionality, the whole issue of purification of roles, of the manner in which the SIR was being done. A lot of the discussion in the court, in the hearings, ended up being about implementation, about, the timing of the SIR, etc. But I don't think we can now approach the courts on the same matter because the court did hear issues of constitutionality as well and finally gave this order with this judgment where they've said that SIR is constitutional. And I think, it's something that has shocked many of us because everything that we have seen happen through the SIR exercise, the kind of exclusions, the manner in which the Election Commission has functioned, and now the manner in which the executive is functioning is so shocking. And the Supreme Court did not take into account any of that and has passed this judgment. The fact that, so many people are left saying that, हमारे पास सारे documents हैं, हमें मौका नहीं मिला और हम vote नहीं कर पाए. All of this was, the Supreme Court just put its stamp of approval. It was almost as if on every issue, the Supreme Court took up the matter and said approved. And I think that's been the biggest disappointment. In terms of intention, somebody talked about, citizens are not being given how citizens' fundamental rights will be taken away. Here, I'm even talking about rights that accrue to every person in the country. You don't even have to be a citizen. Article 21, rights flow to every person who resides within the territory of India. So the right to food, under which the public distribution system operates, the Supreme Court has held it flows from Article 21. So, if you're saying that you're not a citizen, you're not allowed to vote, it's one thing, but you're being told that your ration will not be given to you, which flows from your Article 21. I think it is not just absurd, it really shows the intention of the executive. And I think the Election Commission has
really got a lot to answer for, and so does the Supreme Court.
So I want to just say four things. Also the fifth, which I'll say first, all questions don't have answers. That is the first thing. But the other four things that I wanted to say was कि ये जो 27 लाख लॉजिकल डिस्क्रिपेंसी की वजह से निकाले गए लोग and whose cases are pending before the appellate tribunal, to the best of my understanding, of course, lawyers are there, they have not been taken into consideration by the Supreme Court while delivering this order. That is number one. But a related thing is that the fact that these people, their names were included in the draft voters list, which was done by the ERO, who's the statutory authority for finalizing the electoral roll, meant that prima facie, or more than prima facie, they fulfill the eligibility for being included in the electoral roll, but because of certain external factor called logical discrepancy, which was invented outside the universe of the ERO, there was discrepancy noticed in their cases. Now, a discrepancy is not equal to disqualification. So there is no reason why they should have been denied the right to vote. That is the first thing. The other thing is that we don't know, because so far there is no order to the effect that all these cases have to be disposed of by the appellate tribunal in a certain period of time. The order given by the Supreme Court pertains to the foreigners tribunal, who will determine the eligibility or the citizenship of the people who are deleted because they are not citizens. Those cases have to be decided before the next election, whether parliament, assembly, or municipal. I hope I'm right. So this is the first thing. Discrepancy doesn't mean disqualification. दूसरी चीज ये है that to view the deletions from the point of view of the outcome of the election, the result, may be one way of looking at it. And I don't know whether I don't look at it from that point of view. I think a wrong procedure which is followed for determining the rights of the people is reprehensible per se. Whatever impact it has is a secondary issue. So I feel that the manner in which the whole exercise was conducted per se is unfair. It may be legal, but we all know that what is legal is not always fair. So that is the second thing. The third thing is what was mentioned by Mahesh, ke backbone. See, I think the hallmark of any civilized setup is not that people should be made to feel that they're courageous. You don't go to do your work as if you're going for a war every day or for a battle. Well, you need people who are competent and honest and sincere. But if you subject them to a situation as if their life or existence is at stake, I don't think it's a very happy setup. So the responsibility of an individual to stand up, I think, is a secondary issue. The responsibility of the system to create an environment in which people can do their job honestly I think that is the primary responsibility of the system. And that is where I think we are failing. We are not creating an environment where people can work honestly and sincerely. And there is a fourth thing which I wanted to say, which is about the architecture given in the Constitution. See, we talked about citizenship. So a citizen, as has been mentioned, has a lot of rights. But what is the point of having those rights if there is nobody to protect those rights? And the design which was created in the Constitution was precisely this, that if government does injustice, you can go to the court. If one organization fails, you can go to another organization which will keep things in check. So there is a healthy tension created by the Constitution. I think the disappointing thing which people are troubled by is that if, as has been done by the Supreme Court, the legal might of the Election Commission in conducting the SIR has been recognized. But it doesn't mean that everyone who has a might will do always things which are right. So are we reinforcing the principle of might is right? If you don't check anyone, and again, it reminds me of a serial which used to be telecast called Satyamev Jayate. So usme once Amir Khan was talking to one guy from Khab Panchayat, Haryana ki Khab Panchayat hoti. So those guys they appear to be very, very irrational and illogical. So at one point, Amir Khan said, कि आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले का भी आदर नहीं करते हैं. So that old man, पगड़ी, 80 years old, he said, जी, अदालतें फैसला करती है, न्याय नहीं करती.
Just a couple of very quick comments. Okay, I don't want to sound pedantic, but there is a view that citizenship has been defined by a very famous political philosopher called Hannah Arendt as the right to have rights. Yeah. In a very important piece she wrote, that was published in 1950, talking about the experience of interwar Europe, she writes about how in Nazi Germany, Jews were stripped of their formal citizenship, formally stripped of citizenship before marching them off to concentration camps. So the question that the gentleman at the back asked is extremely relevant. The deprivation of citizenship or the stripping of citizenship is a very serious question, and different countries deal with it in different ways. We seem to be doing it a little clandestinely, if I may say so. So that was one. And second, I completely agree with Brinda on the question of the mass disenfranchisement of women. Yogendra has been writing about it. He's the one person who's written about it consistently in recent times. But also I agree with you, Brinda, that the NRC is the template for the rest of the country. And that is why the SIR is being conducted in every state in India except Assam. But it has already happened in Assam in a certain sense. It is a proxy for the NRC. So the NRC is the template, and that is the template that we should be studying more carefully, including the dubious practices of foreigners' tribunals, the ways in which so-called judges are appointed to them, the kinds of documentary demands made, especially on women, and all of those issues that have come up in Assam and the detention centers. That is the template, and that is what we should study closely. Thanks.
Sir, you wanted to say something, please.
No, I just wanted to say, all our lives, last 70 years, I born in 1949. All our life, we always thought we are Indian citizens. Nobody questioned us. Even when we joined the service, what does the UPSC ask for date of birth? Your SSLC marks list. Whatever is the date of birth put in the 10th standard is proof that that is the day you were born and the place of birth. That's how we became. I retired as Union Home Secretary. Number two, I don't have a birth certificate. 1949, I was born at home. Many of The older people may not have birth certificates. So you cannot say that a non-citizen was made a Union Home Secretary. So nobody is questioning the citizenship of Prime Minister Modi. Nobody is questioning the citizenship of Rahul Gandhi. No, these are all, we presume. I think that whole presumption that if you are born in India, if you see the article in the Constitution, it says, domiciled and born in India shall be a citizen. It's not maybe a citizen, shall be a citizen of India. That's the article in the Constitution. So that presumption is now being challenged, saying, no, you prove your citizenship. No, you should ask everybody who's asking, Gyanesh Kumar, you prove your citizenship. First you prove, and bring him before another committee, not somebody else. Because what is happening today is you are having the lowest level officers in the electoral roll division who are deciding yours and I's whether we are a citizen or not. And I'm saying that that presumption that I am a citizen of India, if I'm not, you prove it that I'm not a citizen of India. And I think for the government, it is something very incorrect. There will be a backlash coming in years to come, because moment the backlash comes not just within the country, it comes even from outside. As somebody said, you might apply for a visa, somebody will say your passport is not applicable, it's a travel document, go bring your proof of citizenship. And look at the problem that has come, even for this government. If you realize in CAA 2019, the rules have not yet been put into place. The only state where the NRC was done in Assam under the supervision of the Supreme Court, that NRC has been rejected by the people of Assam and the government of Assam. Why? Because you found even 22 lakh Hindus there and you got 14 lakhs or 10 lakh, 12 lakh Muslims there. So there is a fundamental flaw in the way this exercise is being done. If you are looking at it from documents, you have to take, I think the fundamental has to be, if you are in India, you are an Indian. 99.9% of people are here. Their illegal immigrants are 0.1%. Whatever you may say, and that I can tell you from being a Union Home Secretary and so on and so forth. Some states in the border districts in Assam and so on, more immigrants have come post 71 and so on. But the percentage of illegal immigrants is a minuscule minority in the whole of India. And for that, to detect that 0.1%, you are making the 99.9% run here and there. And I think that is where all of us have to tell our representatives, our elected people, etc., look, go and make a law, go change it. You can't say otherwise. In the next election, we'll say, when you come for election, we'll say you are not a citizen of India, prove it. And therefore, we'll not vote for you. I think that is where everybody has to say, I am a citizen of India, you prove that you are a citizen of India to all the elected people, if you are not willing to make. Because that presumption is what is the basic backbone of the Constitution of India.